Hey everyone, and thank you for visiting my channel. In today's video I'm gonna show you how to make this super easy marinara sauce from scratch. It is absolutely delicious. I hope you enjoy. And for this delicious marinara sauce you're going to need 2 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil, some kosher sea salt, some dried oregano leaves, about 2 teaspoons of freshly grounded black pepper, kosher sea salt, about 4 pounds of tomatoes, about 10 or 12 small mushrooms, about 5 or 6 cloves of garlic, and 1 large onion. And over here I have some leftover frozen parsley, so if you have leftover fresh or frozen parsley, or if you're just about to do your shopping, that is not going to hurt the dish. I enjoy actually parsley in my marinara sauce, so you can add that too. Oh, and the most important ingredient, you're going to need a bottle of good old Italian red wine. You're not going to need the entire bottle for cooking, you're just going to need half a cup. However, you need the rest to entertain yourself while you're cooking all by yourself like me. Please drink responsibly. For the marinara sauce, I'm going to start by adding 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a large pan and preheat it. So while the olive oil is preheating, I am going to chop my onions, and I know I'm horrible at chopping onions, but just bear with me. You don't have to do it as slow as I do it. However, just make sure to chop them finely. And I have a food processor, but I'll do it by hand. So I have the heat on the burner between medium and high, and the first thing I'm going to add is the onions, and be careful because it's going to splatter, as it is quite hot. Alright, and I'm gonna cook the onions uncovered, and I'm just gonna add a little pinch of sea salt, kosher sea salt, just because the salt helps reduce the liquid, or takes the liquid out of the onions. And I'm just gonna let them simmer for, I would say until they're translucent. It's gonna take probably about 2 to 3 minutes at the most. And after about a minute and a half or so, when you're halfway through cooking the onions, just stir them a little bit so all the onions are cooked, and let them cook for another minute and a half or so. And for the marinara sauce, I prefer to slice the garlic instead of mincing it, as it's going to be sautéed, so I just like the taste better. So just slice it in thin little slices, just as such. So the onions have cooked for about 3 minutes. As you can see, they're starting to brown a little bit. So now I'm going to add the chopped garlic. Mix it well, and I don't want to burn the garlic, so right now I'm going to turn the burner. So until now it was between medium and high. So now I'm going to turn it right to medium, and even a little bit towards the low, because I personally don't like the taste of burnt garlic, and I'm gonna let it cook for about 2 minutes. I now have 2 minutes on the clock. The garlic has been cooking for 2 minutes, and I'm gonna just stir it a little bit, and I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of dry oregano. I have 1. And here is where I add my freshly grounded black pepper. Just add as much as you like. I would say this is probably about half a teaspoon. Mix everything well together again. And now I'm gonna turn the heat back to between medium and high, because at this point I'm going to add the red wine. And we need the temperature to be high to reduce the alcohol. And the heat, it's gonna increase here in a second. I just turned the burner on high. This is the nice part about having gas burners, is that you get the temperature you need faster versus the electric. I have to wait for a little bit. But this is what we're looking for. You see how the wine is now boiling? So I'm gonna cook it until the wine is completely reduced. Oh, that smells so good. And as always, please be responsible if you're drinking any of the wine. Just keep stirring the whole time. I don't have a time frame on that. It's just you stir it until the alcohol evaporates. So I've been doing this for about a minute now. Don't leave the burner because it is on high and it's not gonna take very long and stuff. It's gonna start burning. So be there to turn it back to low. Oh, that smells so good. All right, we're just about there. So if you need time, it took exactly 2.5 minutes to reduce it. And now I'm gonna turn the burner back down to medium. And while the garlic, onions, and other spices are sautéing, I'm gonna slice the mushrooms, and I'm slicing them in 9 pieces, so little cubes. So we slice once, oopsie doopsie, we slice twice, and then once, twice. So we get little mushroom cubes already off. And now I'm going to add the mushrooms. And when I add the mushrooms, this is the first time I'm actually going to cover it because I need the mushrooms to cook a little bit. So the burner is on medium again, mixing everything together. Oh, that smell is just beautiful. And cover it and cook it in medium for a couple of minutes. As far as processing the tomatoes, you can chop them in small pieces, very small pieces, just the way I chop the onion. However, I have a very handy food processor, so I'm going to be using that. And if you're going to use a food processor to process the tomatoes, make sure to use the pulse function, otherwise they're going to turn into water. So I will show you right now. I'm not going to talk because it's loud maybe. But I'll show you how with the pulse, and I have to turn it around a little bit. It just chops the tomatoes a little bit so they don't turn into a mush. Alright, here you go. I'm gonna do the pulse now. And just keep doing it a few times until you get the tomatoes chopped the way you want them chopped. And this is just about what I'm looking for. And this is about the consistency I'm looking for as far as the tomatoes, how finely you should chop them. And keep in mind they're going to be cooking for a while, so don't make them into a complete and total liquid. However, right now I'm going to add 2 teaspoons of kosher sea salt. Again, it's kosher sea salt, so it's not as salty as your regular sea salt. Just a reminder, if you're using regular sea salt, you're going to have to adjust, otherwise the food is going to be way too salty. And just stir it well and set it aside. So it's been about 2 minutes since I started cooking the mushrooms. As you can see, they shrunk quite a bit. So now I'm going to cook them on medium again for another 2 minutes, but uncovered. I just needed the mushrooms to release whatever liquid they had in them. Just keep it on medium. And now to this I'm gonna add my chopped parsley. And as I said earlier, this is frozen parsley from before. So I'll just use the whole thing, but normally this is just about, I would say, about a cup of chopped parsley. You can add to add some extra texture and taste. And the heat is still on medium. So I'm just gonna let the parsley cook for another 2 minutes. And then we're going to add the tomatoes. Alright, so we've cooked the parsley for about a couple of minutes now, and I am going to add the tomatoes and then mix everything well together, very well, all the cooked ingredients with the tomatoes. And remember, we added salt to the tomatoes, so that's gonna salt the entire dish. Just keep mixing until you get a consistent marinara sauce. And now we need some of that tomato juice to evaporate. So now I'm going to cover the tomatoes, but not completely. I'm gonna leave a little opening here so the steam can come out. And I'm gonna turn the heat again between medium and high, but closer to medium than to high. And hopefully 45 minutes from now we have a marinara sauce. We'll see. So this is the rate of cooking that we're looking for. It's been now 20 minutes since I started, so we have another 25 minutes or so to cook it, and I'll show you the final product. Well, it smells so good, really good. So this baby has been cooking for exactly 45 minutes now, so I was pretty close. It needs probably, I would say, another 7 or 8 minutes, so I'm gonna let it simmer just a little bit longer until we get the perfect marinara sauce. Right? Alright, so I turned the tomato sauce down to low just about a minute ago. I ended up cooking it for an hour, exactly 1 hour, and it all depends on the type of tomatoes that you're using, if the tomatoes are juicy or not. Probably Roma tomatoes wouldn't be as juicy, but I happen not to like Roma tomatoes, so I'm using regular tomatoes in the vine. And now I'm gonna pour this delicious tomato sauce over my zucchini pasta. Yum, yum, yum.